She was not there. I can get there from here. You can't get there from here. Things not running, is it?
Into 1:30.
Okay, let's all stand and sing. Change the subject. America the Beautiful. If you need the words, it's number 6, but you don't need the words. Yourselves a big hand. Let's all turn and greet those Rotarians around us with a happy day.
Jameson Brown. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jane Sumner has our invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, today we pray that we receive your special blessing because we are committed to a real service organization to help humankind. May each of us in our daily routine come to know the joy of caring and sharing with others not as fortunate as we. May our motto that includes serving, caring, and sharing be for us life in service. Amen.
Ellis Fisher, Health and Happiness.
Okay, we have 2 visiting Rotarians with us today. Chad Melvin and Vernon Baldwin from the Fusion Club. We have guests of Rotarians today. Would someone like to introduce her?
Sure. This afternoon with me, I've got Jackie Grease. She is currently a law student at CSL. She just finished up her first semester, and because everything else for her summer fell through, she decided to spend it with me.
This is Greta Kazaya. She's with Into Publishing, and she's the area director, and her focus right now is Kramer Mountain.
Today we have as guests of the club Melissa Fonseca, who's our Interact Club advisor at Hunter House, and 3 of our Interact Scholarship students, and you'll be hearing more from them later, but welcome.
And the health news, of course, Bill Seabrook's brother, you may have received it, passed away. So just remember Bill and his family. I think he lived in Anderson, South Carolina. And apparently the update on Marshall LaFar is positive. Does anybody have a specific update or condition?
I just know he's home.
Okay. Okay, good. Great. Yeah, and continue to remember Harry. Yeah, just had to leave. really hurting. Harry was one of our members who's, most of you know, had a terrible motorcycle accident himself at Myrtle Beach about almost 2 years ago, but still was in a lot of discomfort after 5 surgeries. So, just some Franz Holzer touched so many lives in this community, although he was not a Rotarian, a life well lived, and his obituary is really, once again, just a testament to the greatest generation and what they did. Just amazing, man. There's a Rotarian today that some of us haven't seen for a long time. It's Julie Shoveling. Finally, Julie, you notice that the Wayne Sheldon Scholarship was given this week. Was a nice thing in the paper about that.
I haven't seen it, but thank you.
And this is Scholarship Day, so we're trying to fund next year's scholarships. Because somebody loaned this poor former attorney $1. Used to be a member of this community. I know you know how we work.
I forgot we had to pay. I'm sorry. And I always had the scholarship thing. I just didn't see it in the paper.
Okay.
I don't take it anymore.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Well, as you can see, when you've got Barbara Voorhees working with you, we're going to try to fund the scholarship fund an entire year in one day. But there is a time limitation, which is these important people to our left over here have to speak. How about, they were in the Mended Hearts chapter. Jakey's not here today, so he'll have to pay later. But is the chief here? He's not here. He was in a bunch of times. When you're 6'5", it's hard to hide. So with Vinny Cherry in there with his son and all these little, fourth graders, let me run, Vinny. Okay. The mayor, Lord High Mayor, didn't show up this week. He was all over. He's there. He's here. Okay. And with John, with the governor in a color photo, that has a triple. $20. Yeah. But plus this huge Star Highway thing right here. When you get elected, there are certain consequences to those. All right, the Shield Scoop. A lot of folks from the Shield here. Some people are Antippa, of course, Barry Smith. Let's see. You got another great show? Yeah. Let's see. There's Larry Braddock. He's head of the Methodist Church business. Somebody with the Methodist Church needs a pay for him. So. Okay, good. You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Make the poor preacher pay, huh? Lots of, Locke Bell, a quote about something about don't point a gun at a police officer. Just, three of the last 4 did. It come out real well. But, nice article on Gaston Christian here. James, I see you're out there. You're the headmaster or the head of school didn't show up. But I hate for a scholarship recipient to have to pay for a scholarship, so we'll let that one ride. The 20th class. If anybody's got a buck, Will, would you bring it up here? You started Gaston Christian. Sorry, Emma.
Can't get there from here.
That's all right. Good. Okay.
All right.
Okay. There must be some happy dollars out there today. Yeah, Bill.
I'm proud of my son, David Lawson, who recently received a promotion as vice chairman of J.P. Morgan Chase, a banking firm with 250,000 employees.
This picture was made in Matthews in a 5K that she ran in. And this coming weekend, she's going to San Diego to run in a marathon, 26.
I can see you and Bill Lawson and MO. I get out there next year, Max.
Run with the calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, we've reached a major milestone with the YMCA. We actually closed on Robinwood Lake on Friday.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have several announcements today. Would like to wish bon voyage to President-elect Chuck. He leaves next week for Sao Paulo, Brazil, for the international conference. So have fun, represent us well. We'll miss you, and I know you'll have a great time. Charlie Pennegar.
Just a quick reminder, we're going to continue this Saturday building the book stops out at Remount Executive Center. Tim Grooms has loaned his facility and some of his tools. This past Saturday, Dick Ford and Tony and Cindy Moose and Tim and I cut out 5 or 6 of these units, and we're going to cut out some more and glue up some. Dixie Glass has donated the plexiglass, so be sure and thank them and patronize them every chance you get. But 10 till 12, maybe till 1 o'clock on Saturday, anybody that's building the book stops is welcome to come.
Thank you, Charlie. Past President Will Kerman, have our second reading of the slate of officers.
This is the second reading from the nominating committee for the Rotary 2015-16 year. President Chuck Lyford, President-elect Chris Leeser, President nominee Greg Dills, Vice President Cheryl Rhodes, Secretary Cheryl Loggins, Assistant Secretary Cindy Moose, Treasurer Dick Farrell, Assistant Treasurer Scott Scarborough, Board, which will be the class of 2017-18, Joyce Hopefield, Kurt Schuler, Brent Messer. Thank you all for agreeing to serve.
Thank you, Will. Just a quick reminder, anyone who has not fulfilled their pledge for the world's greatest meal to end polio, you may give that money to Steve Driscoll, who's right there at the back table. Several of you have done that today. Thank you for that. Cheryl Rhodes, would you come forward, please? And I have something for you that did not make it here last week.
For what?
Would like to award Cheryl her pen for a Paul Harris +3. So please give Cheryl one. And in a surprise attack, because he happens to be here today, Scott Hudson, would you come forward?
Good afternoon. When past District Governor Chris Jones inducted me into Rotary in 2009, and again when I joined the Paul Harris Society in 2013, he spoke of touching lives of people I will never know. Chris spoke of the power of Rotary, which is made up of over 1.2 million people, individuals around this world who contribute their time and money to make this world a better place. One of the privileges of my contributions to the foundation is allowing me to recognize a Paul Harris Fellow from time to time. And today is such a day. When our PR committee needed a super techie, this Rotarian lent his expertise and hours of time to bring our club into the 21st century. A member since March of 2014, Scott Hudson has a BS in political science from Clemson University, has a Juris Doctorate from the Charlotte School of Law. Scott owns Hudson Legal Services on Main Avenue in Gastonia. He participates in triathlons and likes to read. And if you haven't noticed, Scott is recording these meetings and posting them on YouTube. He single-handedly designed our website with the input from President Ring. And if you haven't been to the Rotary Club of Gastonia lately on the internet, it is an entirely new experience. Soon we'll be able to record you and find out why you joined Rotary and what keeps you here, your Rotary Minute. It is my distinct honor to give Scott Hudson a recognition of service above self.
You are now part of the foundation, and you know the amazing works that the foundation does because you posted it on the website. And we went over it 4 billion times, but thank you so much. As one of the newest members of our clubs, and probably, I think, still the youngest member of our club, he has done yeoman service, and it is a pleasure to recognize him. It's a Paul Harris Fellow. Congratulations. There will be a brief meeting of the PR committee in one of the side rooms here. We are training with Scott on having some other people being able to edit the videos, so please meet us afterwards. And now I would like to call on our Interact scholars. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. So if Jameson Brown, Maddie Moore, and Keisha Phillips will please come forward. These students have been involved in Interact during their high school careers, and they are now getting ready to embark on their college careers, and this is the fruit of all your fines. So when you are called upon to pay for your photograph or an article in the paper, dig deep in your pockets, because this is the result, and I think you'll be very pleased. So please welcome our scholars.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you guys here today. My name is Jameson Brown, and I go to Gastonia Christian High School. I actually just graduated last Friday. And I am very involved in the Interact Club, or was very involved in the Interact Club at my school. And I've been asked to speak just a little bit about some of the projects that we do. So my favorite project that the Interact Club does at Gastonia Christian is the backpack food packing project. It's where Gastonia Christian and a couple other high schools around the area pack bags of food for kids that go to Yorkchester Middle School. And several kids go to school early each morning and receive breakfast and receive free lunch from their school. But on the weekends, obviously, because they don't go to school, they don't get lunch or breakfast. So what the backpack food packing program is like a discreet and secretive program where the teachers slip these bags into the kids that need the food backpacks. And it allows them to have breakfast and lunches over the weekends when they don't get it at school. And our club has definitely been a very influential part of my life, and I'm really glad to be here with you to share about it today. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie Moore, and I will be graduating from Hunter Hus in about 2 weeks. And I don't really have a favorite project of Interact. I enjoyed all the numerous community service opportunities that we had throughout the years in our club. And I will be attending UNC Chapel Hill to major in history education. And thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, my name is Keisha Phillips, and I am also a student at Hunter Hus High School, and I'll be graduating like in around 2 weeks also. And I've enjoyed everything that we've done in Interact, like especially Haunted Hus, where we were able to give back to the children in our community. I'm going to be going to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, and I'm going to be majoring in sociology. Thank you again.
Thank you all so much, and we look forward to hearing from you during your college career, and be sure to seek out the Rotary clubs there. At this point, I would like to ask Barbara Voorhees to introduce our program. Today, we're very happy to have 3 new members who will be fulfilling part of their new member requirements by giving a new member talk. The first will be Catherine Stiers, who was proposed by Cheryl Loggins. Her mentor has been Greg Dills. Our second will be Nancy Cooney, who was both proposed and mentored by Cheryl Rhodes. And our final speaker, we put him last because he needs ample time for his long life, is Charlton Torrance. And And he was both proposed and mentored by Ring Stafford, heaven help her. Reggie suggested that on Charlton's talk, we have a tape delay, so John, if that's possible.
It is. It absolutely is.
All three successfully passed the David LaFar College of Rotary Knowledge. I was concerned that Charlton might need some remediation, but he actually came through okay. So we look forward to hearing these talks. Catherine.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Okay. So I hear in the back, if you can't hear me, just wave. I refuse to put on the little microphone. Don't you do it. Everybody, when I first joined this club, kept saying, who are you? You look familiar. Which Stiers are you? So I feel like today is probably a good way for me just to introduce myself. I have been in Gastonia about 20 years, and I recognize a lot of y'all's faces and look forward to getting to know the rest of y'all. This is certainly the mover and shaker Rotary of Gastonia, as I learned when I was trying to decide which of the three I wanted, and this was the one I wanted. So I didn't quite fit into the, quote, old man's club. I was born in Greenville, North Carolina, so I'm an Eastern Carolina girl. Not that you can hear that in my accent. On November 15th to Dr. and Mrs. John Calhoun Ellen Jr., I spent my entire childhood in Greenville. My father was an East Carolina professor of history in Old South. He was a tobacco specialist, so I grew up around tobacco. A lot of people don't believe that I have picked tobacco in my lifetime. I started playing classical violin when I was 4, and I guess if there's one thing that people don't know about me, that would be it. I assumed everybody that grew up in Greenville, as soon as you turned 4, you got a violin. And you played until you graduated, at least, or did through college. So to me, that was normal. It gave me opportunities I had no idea that I would have never had otherwise. We were able to travel all over the country as well as into Europe to play. And I guess that leads into the one person that I've met that was famous, and that was Jimmy Carter. His daughter, Amy, and I played together when I was he was in office a few years ago. My work ethic was shaped by my mother. My mother owned a dancewear store. She opened it when I went to kindergarten, so it was 40 years old this year. I learned how to count money, count change, work in retail, and just learned that you work. You work for everything that you get. And if I do anything right, it's that I will teach my children that as well, that you are not given things, you have to work for it. She still today is, quote, working full-time, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. My sister, I have one sibling, and that is really the only other living relative besides my parents. I have no cousins. I do have one uncle that I haven't seen in many years, and that is it, which is a little unusual. My sister was a Moorhead Scholar at Chapel Hill, go Tar Heels, and she is now a political science professor in Atlanta at Kennesaw University. She is also married to a political scientist PhD that works at Georgia Tech, and they have 2 daughters, so I am an aunt as well. My mother and my father have just moved here, and I know y'all talked about them last week. My dad's been very, very critically ill. My daddy is 94, so he had me very late in life. He was a World War II vet and just a super cool guy. He is doing well, and he and Mom moved to Covenant Village about 2 weeks ago. So Tom, thank you. That is the best place I think I've ever been around. It's well run, caring, loving, and I see a lot of assisted livings. They really do a great job, so thank you. So if y'all are at Covenant, go by and say hello to John and Doc. They're very, very sweet. I'm trying to make them feel super welcome. After I went to Meredith College after graduating from Rose High School. I decided to do that because my mother said she didn't want Dr. Ellen's daughter to be at East Carolina. She wanted me to go out and do something different. So I went all of 2 hours away and went to a girls' school, and I was the perfect Meredith girl. There were 2,000 of me. We had fun. We had a great time. I majored in biology and enjoyed all that it had to offer for a girls' school. I did find my way to NC State a couple of times, so the boys weren't far. Ended up marrying one. I came to Gastonia because I did meet a Gastonia boy, and that was Wes Stiers, and he was at State. And as I moved here, I started working for the radiologist. A lot of y'all knew Gerald Arney, who has passed, and Dr. Dick Jordan. They were two of my mentors, and I share their names just because I know a lot of y'all know them. They hired me as soon as I moved here in '93, and I worked with them for 18 years. My heart is still in Gaston Radiology. I love it, and it's just a fantastic group. I worked in the ER. I worked in the OR. I did CT scans for many, many years, so I scanned some of y'all. And then they came to me and said, you know, Catherine, you've got a people personality, so you need to be out marketing. And that's how I started marketing. So I went from the clinical side over to the marketing side and fell in love with it. And so now I enjoy still marketing clinically. Several of y'all have said, which Stiers are you? I was married to Wes Stiers. We were married 17 years. We are divorced but are very good friends. And we co-parent 3 awesome boys. And I could sit here and talk to y'all for 2 hours about them. And I always tell my boys there's a special place in heaven for a mother of 3 boys. There's a lot of testosterone in that house, my goodness. So my oldest is Clark. He's as tall as I am with a size 13 shoe at age 13. So big boy. He's a lot of boy, and all I do is cook and feed every 2 hours. And then I have twins that are Grant and Hunter. They are just as super cool, very different personalities, but they are all my pride and joy. So in the evening when you guys go home and sit down and put your feet up, my job has just started. I've taken my hospice hat off. I've taken my daughter hat off, and now I become mom, and I am a coach. I help with baseball, football, scouts, Indian guides, play practice, piano, guitar, and homework. So if anybody needs something to do, I can put you to work. When I have free time, which is slim to none, I love to play tennis. I'm very competitive. I love to get out there and beat somebody. I like to run. I like to hike. I like working out at the gym. I even like playing golf. I'm one of those rare ladies that just loves to get out there and do it, and I'm not good, but I sure have fun. And I love just to meet up with my friends and hang out. Just a little personal information. I love to travel. I love going to the beach and watching the sunrise. Love fresh cut flowers. I love restaurants in uptown. If I have an afternoon to myself, I love to hear chamber music just because I grew up around it. That's hard to find in Gastonia. You find a little, so that's why I like having Charlotte close by. I enjoy seeing popular plays and visiting museums. And if you just gave me a day where I had nothing to do, which I'm not sure when that is or was, that would be to go to the lake and just enjoy God's beauty. I currently work for Hospice and Palliative Care of Charlotte Region. This is confusing, and I explain it all day long. We are a part of Charlotte's Hospice, which is not Gaston Hospice, but we work very closely with them, and I share that because I know a lot of y'all have ties to Gaston Hospice. A lot of respect and a lot of working with Gaston Hospice goes on. I am the liaison and the education manager for Charlotte's Hospice for the Gaston, Lincoln, Catawba, and Cleveland County. So I cover 4 territories, so I'm busy. So most of my days are spent out educating, and that's why I'm going first today, because I've got an education at 2 o'clock in Stanley. Whether it be about grief and loss, whether it be something lighthearted, making the most of every day, or maybe some very clinical pain management. So if y'all ever need somebody to speak for a smaller group, let me know. I am a lifelong Methodist and very proud of that. I don't plan to change. I have been a member of First Methodist 18, 20 years, something like that. I served on the Red Cross Board of Directors. I was on the Board of Directors for Meredith College. I was Junior League. I helped the Boys and Girls Club dance in Chad Milton. I worked on the NICU board at Caramont. I have helped Cancer Services as well as got my start with the JCs. That's me in a nutshell. So hopefully that gives you just an idea of who I am. One thing I'm really excited to do in Rotary is to learn more about my county, learn more about you guys who really are, and I'm serious when I say the movers and the shakers, the people in this room are the reason that Gaston County is what it is. So I feel very, very blessed. Lastly, and this was an afterthought, but I will share this. This was something I had to do when I joined hospice, and it was to make a poem, not rhyming, about yourself. So it may be a little redundant, but it's a little more personal, so hopefully this will tell you a little bit more. I'm a Down East girl at heart, brought up believing education was the key to success. I'm the daughter of a 94-year-old and an 85-year-old mother, a sister of a political scientist, no cousins, no living grandparents, and only one living uncle leaves my family of 4 Ellens very close. Classical violinist, a dancer for many years, modeled through high school, yet my love is winning a tennis match. I am a loyal employee, a team player, a challenge taker, and a good listener. I look forward to being a dedicated and loving girlfriend to one very lucky man. I could give Miss Manners a run for her money. Love, organization, and productivity makes for a good day. I am a lifelong Methodist, but love to learn about other religions and what other people believe and why. I secretly follow Dancing with the Stars and love the movie The Hangover. I'm a Diet Coke fanatic who's been known to sneak sea salt dark chocolates from Dean and DeLuca. My guilty pleasure is watching Rachel Ray at night or playing golf on a weekend. But above all else, I am a mother of 3, I always get choked up, 3 wonderful boys. I do everything for them. Sorry. I didn't expect that. So y'all now really know who I am. My time, my energy, and my efforts could not be spent on anything more important. I'm going to stop there. Bye.
Can you hear me in the back? I'm Nancy Cooney. Yeah, I'm Matt. I'm not native to Gastonia. You probably and shortly will notice that when I talk. I also, when I talk, say there on that. I'm there a lot. So you be prepared to hear that over and over. I'm not sure why I do that. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. I was born there and grew up in Dayton, Ohio. My mother still lives there. She's 83 years old. My father passed away 3 years ago at the age of 89. I had great parents there who believed strongly in education and were nice enough to send me to school not only once but 2 more times there. They sent me initially to college, and then they sent and paid for me to go to midwifery school and to go for my nursing degree at Syracuse University there on that. So I appreciate all of that from them. I have a brother, he lives in Dayton also, and I have a nephew, Jordan, who is 10 years old and will be 11 next month there on that. Currently, I work at Ashley Women's Center as a certified nurse midwife. I do women's health care, I do well woman care, take care of pregnant ladies, and deliver babies there. I've been delivering babies for probably about the past 15 years. I've delivered over 1,000 babies between Gastonia, Virginia, and Texas there on that. Other than that, prior to being a midwife, I was a dietitian and worked for 10 years as a dietitian with high-risk pregnant women, and then went on to become a midwife. Most of my day and some of my evenings and nights are spent working there. In between, hobbies I have are I like to quilt, basket weave, and garden. Right now is my favorite time of year to be out in the yard gardening there on that. I love to play in the dirt. I find that doing weeding, people find it odd. I love to weed there. It's very therapeutic there. You pull the weed out, shake the dirt off, go over my day of what I should have said or not said that day. By the time I'm done, I've released my frustration and the field looks good there from that. So I enjoy that and have been working hard. And I'm not sure, I forget your name there, but I appreciate the other day I was at Lowe's getting dirt and helped me in the back. Steve helped me put my dirt in my car there on that. So I appreciated that. Those bags over time get heavy. I like to travel there. I get the opportunity to travel a lot with work. Combination, you get to go on a trip and study some, and then you get to also travel to different places there. So I enjoy doing that as some of my time off there. I'll be very brief since I know Charlton has lots to say, and I pretty much wraps my life story up there.
I was trying to live up to Barbara's derogatory introduction. I'm Charlton K. Tarns Jr. I was born here in Gastonia in 1928. I went to public schools, went to Gastonia High School in the 9th, 10th, and 11th grades, and probably where I played football and baseball. And my probably only claim to fame was in 1945, pitching American Legion baseball. I pitched a 5-hit, 5-0 shutout against Shelby. And Shelby went on that year to win the Little World Series, and that was the only time they were shut out all year. After my senior year was at Darlington School, Rome, Georgia, and I then entered Davidson College, joined the Kappa Sig fraternity. Bill Lawson was my pledge master. And I know Tom Howard wrote a very nice letter about Bill recently, but if Tom had Bill as his pledge master, he'd have done a different Steve Harrison, when he gave his new member talk, he kept talking about NC State. Well, Steve, while at Davidson, I pitched against NC State in Raleigh, and we beat them 2-1. And I'd give you the game ball, except NC State said they needed it for their next game. I graduated January 51 from Davidson with a double major, business and economics. I went to work at Superior Yarn Mills in Mount Holly, and I joined the Naval Reserve, went to boot camp at Great Lakes, Illinois, and then went to officer candidate school in Newport, Rhode Island, whereas an ensign, and that's how far that is back, and I was assigned to a destroyer escort in Key West, Florida, where we mainly evaluated new anti-submarine warfare equipment. Went to military justice school and became legal officer aboard ship, and then gunnery school, became gunnery officer. We operated in the North and South Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, and I was actually in Guantanamo Bay twice, but not as a prisoner. After 4 years of all this fun in the service, I was honorably discharged. That might surprise you. In Charleston, South Carolina. And rejoined Superior Yarn in Mount Holly. I married Mary Elizabeth Mason on June the 4th, 1955. And we had our first child in March the 7th, 1956. And if I gave you bankers and accountants enough time, you'd probably figure out that was 9 months and 3 days after we were married. Well, we had a real nice girl. We named her after both our mothers. Elizabeth Ring. We lived in posted apartments the first 2 years, and then built a home on Churchill Drive where we lived for 8 years, and during which time our second daughter, Catherine Mason, and our son, Charlton III, were born. Then built a home in Armstrong Circle At that time, I had become Vice President and Treasurer of Superior, and I was able to buy some of my first stock, Carolina Charcoal Company. Highly recommended by one Keith Pearson who worked for R.S. Dixon and Company. Well, the stock began going down. Keith said that's a good buying opportunity, so I bought more. Well, after several times of this, it finally dawned on me that each time I was buying, I think Keith was selling. We sold Superior Yarn to Clyde Fabrics in Newton, North Carolina. I was made a vice president of Clyde, selling their jersey and tubing to the work glove trade, while keeping the yarn sales of Superior. We then sold Clyde Fabrics and Superior to Textiles Incorporated here in Gastonia. I was made a vice president of Textiles and took over their yarn sales when Bob Stowe retired. At that time, I gave up Clyde Fabrics sales because my territory for yarn sales was the United States, Canada, the Caribbean, as well as England, France, and Israel. So that did keep me moving. We later took Textiles product to Tycaro, and then sold Tycaro Inc. to Dixie Yarns out of Chattanooga. I was made a vice president of Dixie and took over their sales office in Charlotte. I retired in December 1989, and then my wife died in 1997. I moved to Covenant in 1999 and joined Rotary last October. I came in under the rule of 85, but I hope to, make it to the rule of 101 like MO. Because I understand that under that rule, Rotary pays you to attend meetings. Skip McPhail volunteered to write my new member speech, but I knew they'd keep us here at 5 o'clock. And besides, after I read it and saw the paper he'd written on it, Skip, I really appreciate your help, but honestly, the paper you wrote it on, I really thought it was sort of crappy. Chuck Adams actually asked me to eat at his sacred table, Eva Ann sits right beside him. And every time Eva Ann looked at me, all she could see were dollars. She actually sent a attractive young lady, Lindsay Baxter, to call on me the next week, and with his final wishes organized. Eva Ann, I'm not sure it's going to work out because Lindsay refused my first wish. Sunday school teacher, deacon and elder, believe it or not, the First Presbyterian Church. And I've also been a past president of Comb Yarn Spinners Association. I served on the Daniel Stowe Board of Botanical Garden for several years on their Board of Advisors. Served on the Shield Museum Board of Directors and helped start their endowment. And then later, along with Ann Tippett, Alan May, Debbie Windley, and Carl McKinnon, we worked for 4 years in getting the new Environmental Studies Center there to Shield. And if you haven't seen the new landscaping in front, you should drive by to see it. I'm still now on the Shield Board of Advisors, and I've been involved and still involved with Gastonia Potter's House since its beginning in 1997. Served 7 years as treasurer at Crisis Assistance Ministry and helped to start their endowment program. I'm presently a director and treasurer of First Gaston Foundation and a member of Caramont Health Foundation Grants Committee. I have a sister, Jean Marie Torrance, here in Gastonia, 2 granddaughters, Sarah and Meredith Giles, who live and work in Charleston, South Carolina. And at this time, This bag of charcoal cost me over $25,000. And Keith, you might as well pick this up because you got the rest of it. Since Walter Hobbs and President Ring had banned me from Happy Dollars, I'm going to have to tell you that, bring you up to date on Bobby Jim. Bobby Jim is a young man that Locke Bell brought before Judge Caldwell. And I want to commend Locke and Jesse because it was through their generosity that Bobby Jim was able to start a chicken farm right here in Gaston County. But Locke has assured us that chickens are all registered and have their proper papers and accreditation. Y'all evidently didn't read about Locke lately. Okay. I did get an email from Bill Lawson last week. It was a recent survey showed that the average Scottish male, 65 years and older, had sex 2 or 3 times a week, whereas the average Japanese male, that same age, had sex once or twice a year. What amazes me is that so many of my friends and so many of you men out there don't even know you're Japanese. This is a special anniversary for me because 70 years ago I started my first summertime job. Went to work in a ladies' panty factory. Pulled out 40 a week.
Thank you, Catherine, Nancy, and Dad. Thank you for being such a good sport. I know people give you a lot of grief, but you give it right back, and I like that. Thanks again to our scholarship students, Jameson, Maddie, and Keisha. If you guys would make your way to the back along with Scott. I know somebody will turn that on for you eventually, but I'd like for people to be able to congratulate you as we leave today. Thank you to all our visitors and guests. Please join us anytime. We are very happy to have you here. And if the rest of you will stand, we will be adjourned with the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it give goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?